Welcome to A-Way with Ashish and Naveen, where we bring you the most interesting people doing something with AI for India or in India.
Hello everyone, welcome back to AV. Our guest today is Professor Sutirth Dey of IISER Pune. IISERs, if you don't know, are amongst the top science institutions in the country, similar to the IITs, except that they are for basic science. Sutirth is a professor in the biology department, but has been doing a lot of interesting work with AI in the recent years, and that is why we want to talk to him today about the various different ways of AI that he's been exploring. Welcome, Sutirth. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Naveen. Great to be with you.
So I want to start with the thing that first caught my attention about your use of AI, right? IISER Pune recently published an AI policy for the whole institute, and I found that it was a surprisingly interesting policy and a little different from what I have seen other permissive policy, and you were the chair of the committee that drafted this policy. What I want to ask is, what are the important highlights of this policy, and how did you guys reach that conclusion that that's where we want to go?
Okay. So, our policy was, is what it is, but the process that we followed to get to the policy was also interesting. So what we did was we started by sending a survey to everybody in the entire institute, students, faculty, administration, everybody, asking them that, what is it that they feel about AI. We had some questions written down. And then once we got the responses, we had lots of deliberations of our own. And then we came up with the first draft of the policy, which was again sent to the entire institute for their comments. So they got about 1.5 months to give their comments. And then once those comments came back, we kept that in front of us, and then we did the final version. We, stress tested it in different ways. And then the whole thing was put up in front of the Senate, and the whole thing was then adopted. So this was something that actually involved the entire community.
Yes.
And that is one reason perhaps, many of the things that are, catching your eyes and you guys are finding them to be nice.
Yeah.
It's probably because, the whole community came together to kind of do that.
Yeah.
So our main thing is that use of AI is permitted by default until and unless somebody as in either a faculty or a PI or an administrator explicitly and in writing forbids the use of AI. Okay. So this is the opposite of what some other people think, that, it is not permitted by default. Ours is permitted by default.
Yes.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is that we simply say that, look, you use AI in whatever way you seem fit, but end of the day, the responsibility for the content is entirely the author's.
Yes.
Okay, that is very, very crucial. You cannot simply say that I used AI, ChatGPT told me so. Doesn't work. And thirdly, our main thing is that, look, you have to attribute it properly. And we have given very nice guidelines, or what we think are nice guidelines about, how the attribution should happen. And then essentially the fourth major thing that we have said is that in the context of IP, copyright, etc., the fact that you have used AI doesn't really change anything, at least until and unless it ends up conflicting with, let's say, the policies of the government or the policies of, whatever the corresponding agencies are. So those are the four major things. Everything else is, details around that.
Yeah. So of course, the fact that AI is permitted by default was the one that caught my eye in the first place. And I totally love that, right? I think that is the way things should be, especially at top educational institutions. But I also see that there could be situations where you want to prevent students from cognitive offloading. You want some things they should be doing by themselves. So the other interesting thing I found about the policy is that you have said that if a professor forbids the use of AI in a certain context, then they have to very clearly specify how they are going to enforce this. Right.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that? And I mean, I see that as an open problem in some sense, as in this is not easy to do, right?
Yes, that's the whole problem. And that is precisely why we phrased it the way we phrased it. Because, see, I forbid you from using AI, and then end of the day I suddenly spring a surprise on you by saying this is how I think you, or this is the reason for which I think you used AI. Okay. So for example, I mean, suppose I say that, hey, I passed your thing through one of those plagiarism softwares, and the plagiarism software is telling me that this is AI, therefore this is AI. Now, the problem is that we all know that there are serious issues with those plagiarism softwares. The models that they use are not public. In many cases, the false positive and the false negative rates are very, very high.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you now spring a surprise and then you say that, okay, I'm not going to be flexible on that, then it's going to be an issue. Rather than that, it will be much better if right at the beginning you make that announcement. And then students fight it out right at the beginning. Okay, they explicitly show them that, look, here are the false positive rates, here are the false negative rates, etc., etc. And in spite of that, you can still say that, look, I understand that the technology is not perfect, I'll still stick to it. In which case, the students themselves will pass their stuff through those plagiarism softwares and will ensure that, it's not throwing, alerts. So essentially, we came to the conclusion that at least as of now, there is no foolproof way of figuring out that AI has been used. Okay. Until and unless the student has been careless enough to leave certain things like, do you want me to write more about it, etc. It's almost impossible to do anything. So as of this moment, we feel that, let me be very personal here. I feel that the only thing you can do is you tell the students that, look, I'm going to give you an assignment. You do that assignment, and then after that, I'm going to take a quiz or whatever, some viva voce, something which is going to be unaided. And in that unaided thing, if you do not score beyond a certain level, then I don't care how nicely your assignment is written. I'm going to assume that you have not, done it properly, and I'm going to give you less marks. And this is the amount by which I'm going to reduce your marks. Okay. Of course, kids can still, say that, you can't reduce by so much, etc., etc. But those are details.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the only stuff that can be done, which is reasonably fair. I can't say everything is totally fair, but it's reasonably fair. Apart from that, at least I have not been able to come up with a way which is, foolproof and will scale reasonably well. I mean, please also appreciate that being a big institute, our class sizes are huge.
Yes.
Okay, I teach class size of 300. So taking a viva voce for 300 students is not that easy for me. But so that's all that we have along that axis. I haven't come across any other method of doing it.
So detection is hard, and I completely agree, both from personal experience and having read a number of reports. How do you handle the flip side now that you allow AI to be used in both presumably classes as well as for assignments? How do we teach students how to use AI well? I don't just mean responsibly, I genuinely mean well. So what is your thinking about, and how has it evolved in terms of how to get students to work better with AI, not just in terms of the quality of output, but the quality of learning while they're doing the work itself?
So first of all, the kids, they really know a lot. The ones who know, use AI properly, they really, really know a lot. Partly because, they are into, all kinds of Reddits, Discords, and so many forums that I don't even know the names of.
Yeah.
So they are actually doing well. Second thing is, I mean, this I can talk about an experiment that I did myself in my advanced
Please.
evolution course. I actually gave them an assignment which explicitly required them to use AI to go beyond a certain point. So I basically said that, I want you to write a grant for solving some question related to ecology evolution. Don't worry about the financial aspects of it. That's not part of it. I want you to write what is the backdrop, what is leading to the particular question that you have in mind, what is the novelty factor of the question that you are proposing, what is going to be your experimental design to address this question, prior literature, etc. What is going to be your statistical analysis, plan of statistical analysis, what observations will show you that your hypothesis is right, what observations will show you that your hypothesis is not validated, what is your null hypothesis, etc., etc. So I gave them a very nice, these are the things that I want. Now this is a very advanced thing which normally I would not have given even to BSc third year, fourth year students. And I explicitly told them that, look, here, particularly in order to figure out the novelty part of it, in order to, stress test your logic, you really need AI. Okay. And I absolutely don't mind your using AI. The only thing I prescribe is that you very nicely attribute what is the part that you got done via AI. Okay. That's it. Nothing else. The students did a lot of stuff, and most of them actually used AI very, very well. So at IISER Pune, we have institute level subscriptions to some AI services. They used those. Almost all of them have free access to ChatGPT, etc. ChatGPT, as you know, was giving 1 year free. Everybody, all the kids had gone there. So at least everybody had ChatGPT, if nothing else. Okay. And since we also at IISER Pune have a Google Workspace account, so they were also get greater than usual access to Gemini. They use that, all our other AI subscriptions. So most of the students, they actually turned out a very, very nice, report. And then now my problem was my class strength was 100. And each report was about 10 to 12 pages long. And given what I had asked for, these were really advanced stuffs. Okay. And I had actually told them that you can, do anything in entire evolution. Okay. So that basically meant that, somebody was talking about cancer evolution, somebody was talking about cuckoo birds, somebody was talking about, some behavior in local. It was like everywhere. And many of our own kids, they themselves are working in one lab or the other. So some of them very smartly took whatever problem they were working on and then essentially put it in an evolutionary context, in which case I was, battling their supervisors stuff also. So I realized that, checking this is not going to be an easy job, although I had access to 4 TAs, but it is not going to be easy. So what I did was, I actually spent a lot of time to come up with an agentic system which is going to review each one of them. Okay. And it was a, fairly, even if I say so myself, fairly complicated system. So it was a Claude-based system. I was using Claude Opus, and essentially grading each one of them was taking about 15 to 20 minutes of Claude time. I mean, you guys are into it, so you understand what that means.
Oh, yes.
One run of Opus for 20 minutes. Okay. Which also meant I was hitting my session limits.
Of course.
Yes.
Every two of them. So before long, I realized that, one subscription will not work. So I actually purchased multiple subscriptions and put all my TVs on it just to get the reports. The reports actually, came out very, very well. I mean, because I was able to do it properly. And then what we did was, we did not let AI grade the students. We used the report the way one uses referee reports. And then keeping those reports in front of them, the TAs then graded the assignments. Okay, and again we had very nicely well-defined rubrics, etc.
Yeah.
And I told the TAs, be very gentle with them.
Yeah.
So then the question was that, the review that we got, in most of the cases, the reviews were as long or longer than the actual assignments. Okay, but I looked at them, the reviews were good. They were seriously good. If as a journal editor, I got those kind of reviews, I will be very, very happy. Okay. So then I actually thought a lot, that after all, these are kids. Do I really give them these reviews this detailed? And then I felt, okay, I mean, they are the scientists of tomorrow, right? They are going to face these kind of reviews all their life. So let them have it. So I gave them those reviews, told them not to freak out. Okay. And the response was very interesting. So all the serious students, they kind of liked the exercise. They praised the exercise of writing it, and they praised the exercise. They praised the fact that they got these kind of detailed reviews. I explicitly told them that, look, if there is something that is wrong, particularly wrong, okay, I mean, the AI has gotten it totally wrong, tell us, okay?
Yeah.
It should not be a nuance or something, because see, even when there are, regular reviewers reviewing a paper, there are nuances. That's fine. But I'm talking about something that is totally wrong. Is there anything? If there is anything, let us know. Nobody, got back to me saying that there are particularly bad, which was not unexpected, because when I went through a huge number of those reviews, in order to make sure that it was happening properly. And generally students liked the whole idea. Some students obviously were upset with it, and they were like, how can you get a AI to review it? Okay. I was like, why? Otherwise, how could have I given you this kind of an exercise to a class of 100 people?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the thing is that this is an exercise which, as I said, could not have been given to the students if they had no access to AI. It could not have been graded by me if I did not have access to AI. Okay. So this is a AI native use case, so to speak.
Yeah.
Was it beneficial to the students? I would definitely like to think so. Am I going to do it again? Most probably not. Effort was too high. I don't know. I'll have to see. But these are the kind of things that are now possible.
Yeah. So I just want to interject here and clarify one thing, because I can imagine certain viewers misinterpreting this, right? Because I can imagine someone saying that, oh, what even happened here, right? Because AI of the students wrote a report and AI of the prof graded it, and the students and profs were not involved at all, which is not at all what this was doing, right? Because basically there was, first of all, what the students were trying to do with the AI, that is important. And second, is that just the way you're describing the evaluation. I know that you can actually do an excellent job if you use AI correctly, especially that level of AI, Opus and so on. And third,
with agents involved, huh?
Yeah. And third is that it allowed those students to play at a level which would just not have been accessible to them at all, right?
Let me say a few things, since you brought this up.
Yeah.
So there were a few students who, became very lazy. They probably simply typed, give me, these are the instructions that I have been given, write a project and give it.
Yes.
These were the ones that were full of errors. Okay. Full of errors. So for example, they claimed that something was novel when it was not novel. They claimed that, this one was superb, they claimed that the entire thing was based on the fact that the egg was colored in a certain way, blue-green color, and the entire experimental design was based on that. And the first thing that the AI told me that in this particular species, that's not true. It's actually colored brown. So I actually went to Wikipedia and went to other sources to check what is the color of those eggs, and it turned out that yes, it was actually, what the AI was saying is right. So that is all the whole point. All those kids who just made AI write their reports were full of hallucinated references. Their reports were full of errors, both in terms of factual errors, as well as in terms of logical errors, as well in terms of, claims of novelty and so on. And therefore, we were able to catch all those. Our AI was able to catch all those. And in those cases in particular, we manually verified all those cases. Okay. So it's not that AI wrote the report and AI read the report. It was a report which was written with the help of the AI.
Yes.
It was a report which was graded with the help of the AI. The students wrote it at a level at which they could not have written without AI. We graded it at a level at which we could not have graded without the help of AI. That is the point. I think that's what you wanted to bring out, right? I mean, you are absolutely right. That's the crux.
Yeah.
I would in fact bring another layer. This probably is also going to mimic the kind of workflows they are going to experience as researchers in the very short future. So if anything, it is useful practice.
It's right now. So for example, see, right now there are several platforms which will review your paper at a depth at which most peer review does not happen.
Yeah.
Okay. What I had written agentically, there are now platforms doing it. And therefore, that is the future. All journals are going in that direction. There will be pros and cons of that, but everything is going in that direction. So yes, you are absolutely right. This is what they need to get used to starting now.
Since we were not talking about research, let's switch to that, right? Sutirth, you have been even conducting sessions on how to use AI in research, and you have been using AI in your own research also. So can you talk about that little bit overall?
So there are several things for which one can use AI, and depending on your area, you use it more or you use it less. So for example, anybody whose research involves writing a lot of code, be it a bioinformatician or be it a theoretician, right now getting AI to write that code for you is very easy. Whether the AI is writing the correct code or not, and whether your own understanding is getting improved because of that code or not, is a different ballgame. Okay, and that's where a lot of danger lurks. But on an average, anything to do with coding has become simpler. In terms of literature searching, as of this moment, the AI platforms are really, really superb. You can do the kind of searches which earlier were very, very difficult to do. Lots of people are using AI for summarization of research. There, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes AI does well, many a times it does not. Primarily depends on what is it that the AI is reading. In many cases, the way these platforms are structured, they're just reading the abstracts, in which case things can go wrong. In many cases, they are reading the full text, in which case it is slightly better. But then again, the way the full text is being read and the way the full text is being accessed again varies, from platform to platform. So again, the results output varies in terms of the synthesis that you get from AI. And these are the things that we discuss in great detail in our workshops, that which platform does what, and therefore when should you use which platform, etc. But on an average, literature searching is, works good. Literature summarizing less so. And then it comes to all kinds of agentic workflows, which can be used for example, fact checking, for example, brainstorming. In those cases, if you are able to set up your agents properly, you will get very good quality results. Okay, these are checkings. Okay, you can also use it for ideation. Lots of people are using it that way, but that's a double-edged sword, because when you are using it for ideation at the level of an individual, you are probably going to see ideas which you didn't think about. But at the level of, let's say, 10 scientists or 20 scientists in a subfield, the overall diversity of ideas is going down. And that is a problem on which people have extensively, done work. There are analysis, meta-analysis, and so on and so forth. So one has to be a little careful over there. The kind of review platforms that I was talking about, where you input a paper and you get all kinds of reviews, that again is a double-edged sword. Because if you are, using such a platform, then some of the common mistakes that can happen, these platforms will pick them up. Okay. So for an individual, it's really good. But the problem is, when most journals will end up adopting these platforms, which is very near future, I think we are very close to that. When that will happen, then essentially all the judgment will become monolithic. Okay. To some extent, there are pros of it, because right now what happens is, whenever a paper gets reviewed, all kinds of biases come in.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the address of the paper, and are you a known lab versus unknown lab, etc., etc. There are tons of studies on that. Hopefully AI will not suffer from those biases, but AI will introduce biases of its own. Okay. And as we saw in the context of ideation, even in the context of gatekeeping, AI is going to harp on exactly the same set of issues.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which platform you are using. Roughly speaking, the same set of issues will be harped on. And therefore, see, right now what happens? Your paper gets rejected in journal 1 because of something. It gets rejected in journal 2, journal 3. You keep on sending somewhere or the other. It's a matter of luck, but you will most probably hit some oddball reviewer or some oddball editor who will say, you know what, I think it's okay. And a lot of path-breaking papers actually got published this way, because the field in general rejected it, but some oddball guy somewhere said, let it go. And once it went through, then, it created something.
Yeah.
With AI review becoming the norm, that will not happen anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. And when that happens at the societal level, innovation is going to go down. All papers will not commit certain kinds of mistakes, but they will not, do something spectacular either. So that is something about which I am a little worried. And I think that is, next 3 to 4 years that is going to happen. Yeah, that's about it. Those are the major points. Rest of it is all details.
A couple of questions about research and publications, and more from a retrospective or a stock viewpoint rather than a flow viewpoint. So it's not so much about the papers that will be published in the near future, but about the body of papers that have been published in the past. To what extent will AI help with the so-called replication crisis? And second, if data sets are available with older published papers in your field, does it make it easier to do a retrospective review of already published papers where you can check either the method or the data set or both? And will that help?
I mean, when you say checking the data set, what you mean is essentially rechecking the analysis, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, one can do it. See, the point is, already we know that once you go beyond simple t-test and ANOVA, no two analysts analyze the data same way.
Of course.
So it is entirely possible, even in the absence of AI. Okay, if you dig those old papers and let loose a fresh bunch of analysts on them, you will get slightly different results. So that part, I don't think AI is going to make any delta over there. What will happen is that if you take the old papers and push them via AI, then AI will be able to surface certain kinds of mistakes very fast. And those kinds of mistakes will be very useful for, let's say, a new PhD student who has just joined, is trying to make sense of the literature, okay, and is either not, experienced enough to catch those mistakes, or, is experienced enough but is somewhat deferential and therefore doesn't want to think that, oh my God, XYZ could have made a mistake. Okay. For those people, AI is going to help them to see certain things in certain ways much, much faster, which in the long run might have a positive effect. I think that's what you were kind of alluding to. I totally agree.
So maybe it's a wrong mental model, but my mental model is that a PhD student is actually doing two different things with their supervisor, right? One is working on research, and then another is also doing a whole bunch of things that needs a junior person to do, right?
Like what?
I mean, okay, no, let me just ask the question and then it'll map to what I'm saying, right? That a lot of things which PhD students were doing for professors, right? Now AI can do those things. And if the professors are just getting AI to do it, because often, dealing with AI is much easier than dealing with actual students. Would we run into a situation where important skills the juniors, the PhD students are not picking up because a lot of it is being done by AI, right? So, like I said, I might be mapping it wrong. This is a problem that we are beginning to see in our field in industry. Is something like this likely to happen or is happening in research?
So it entirely depends on what kind of tasks you have in mind. Okay, because different profs delegate to different levels. All right. So suppose I have a particular idea and I want to know, has anyone worked on this before? Okay. I can delegate it to my students saying go and search. But I'm also aware of the fact that typically the ability to search itself is a function of how good you are in that field.
Yes.
Therefore, personally, I'm not going to entirely delegate that thing to my student. I'm going to tell them to do it, but I will also do it.
Okay.
Okay. So that is going to continue, AI or no AI. Okay. But suppose if I were such a busy professor that I never had the time to search my own literature, then I think even with AI, I will tell the students to do it.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Similarly, let's say making a figure. Okay. There are lots of professors who just love making their figures. Okay. And I assume that, because that is something that is close to their heart, they will continue doing that, AI or no AI. At the same time, there are some people. So, for example, me. Okay. Once I see the data, okay, once I know what the nature of the data is, plotting, I'm not very particularly enamored by that skill. I will just tell the kids, hey, here's the software, there's R, just go and plot it. Okay. So I don't think AI is going to change that part too much. So, long story short, in the context of industries, you always had this, interns and junior interns, etc.,
Yeah.
etc., which is the cadre that you are probably worried about.
Yeah.
In the context of research, I don't think good labs use their PhD students like that.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some labs, which would put all kinds of things. I mean, come on, there are places where profs tell their PhD students to go and take classes on their behalf.
Correct. Yeah.
But that's not what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think, in research, the problem is going to be as acute as you are finding it in your corporate.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions going back to the AI policy that you adopted at IISER. Hollis Robbins has been writing for a long time about how to think about AI in education. And one of the more fascinating questions that she chooses to focus on is the fact that AI is going to amplify the learning rate problem in academia. So there are going to be, and there always have been, certain students who pick up the learning material faster than the rest of the cohort, and a distribution is inevitable. But with AI, it is likely to be a much faster rate than was possible earlier. So should we, taking this into account, should we still think about 3-year or 4-year undergraduate degrees? Or should we think about this in terms of how much have you learned, regardless of how much time has been taken? Are you seeing evidence of that either at IISER or in general? And how do you think about the problem?
So one thing that I'm seeing at IISER is that, again, being a all India institute, we get students from every part of the country, and we get students from all kinds of socio-economic strata of the country. So every year we get lots of kids who, for example, have English related issues. AI has been really good for these kids. Okay, they are using AI very well, particularly Notebook LM and other things, with excellent results. So for them, AI good, at least used properly, no doubt about that.
Right.
I think the point that you are talking about is primarily a motivation issue. Explicitly this learning differential thing that you talked about. If somebody is motivated, they are going to accelerate their learning AI or no AI. If somebody is not motivated, they are not going to do anything with their learning, AI or no AI. So now the real question is, how is AI playing with motivation? And my general observation, with the caveat that, the amount of time that has passed is too less, so I don't have very high quality data, but
Absolutely.
my personal biased observation is that in general, AI is actually reducing motivation.
Yeah.
Okay. Particularly in those kids who are not, self-driven to begin with.
Yeah.
So if you are motivated, then AI is actually increasing your motivation. So I have people, undergrad students, second year students who, have taken Claude Max, Claude Max,
$200. Yeah.
that $200 subscription, simply because they are working on certain aspects of number theory and exceedingly high-end mathematics,
Amazing.
such that they are finding that Claude Pro doesn't work for them. I mean, they're hitting the limits too much. They're getting
Wow.
frustrated. Yes. Okay. So you have those guys. They have taught themselves lean, and they are doing all kinds of crazy stuffs. They are one end. On the other hand, I also have people who are like, why should I go to the class? In the class, this bugger is going to talk. AI will teach this to me like this. I can ask as many questions as I want to AI. And even more importantly, why do I need to really learn this thing when, just before the exam, I'm just going to get the answers, I'll mug it up and I'll go. So for those people, AI is actually pulling them back.
Yeah.
For the first kind of people, AI is goading them ahead. This is essentially what used to happen. AI has just become one more factor to create the differential. That's about it.
Yeah. So I just have something to share related to this point, especially motivation. So Khan Academy, they touched onto AI very early, and they created Khan Amigo, an AI tutor and assistant. They got access to ChatGPT before anyone else, and they spent like a lot of time making sure that it was a good tutor, and it didn't directly give you the answer but pointed you towards the answer and things like that, right? Later on, there is research showing that students who used Khan Amigo well got significantly improved performance in their exams and so on. And of course, Khan Amigo is well known. It got support from donors like Gates Academy. It got support from governments. It got support from schools. Like a month back, Khan Academy admitted that Khan Amigo is a failure. And the reason is that, sure, students who use Khan Amigo, their performance improves, but that's only about 10% of the student. 90% are not using it. So the problem is motivation. Yes. And that brings me to the kind of question, which is that I see that, AI can teach you, but a teacher is the one who can motivate you.
Yeah.
Naveen, can I say something on this? Okay. Have you read this magnificent story by Isaac Asimov called The Fun They Had? Are you aware of this story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the viewers, just give a quick...
For the viewers, yeah. So this is about a time when students don't go to school anymore. There is no concept of a school. Everybody gets a personalized tutor, which is a screen with which you interact. And the tutor exactly paces itself according to the kid's needs. And, if the kid doesn't understand, the tutor is going to give example after example after example till the kid understands, so on and so forth. And in this kind of a scenario, one of the kids, he discovers a book about this thing called schools, where where kids of the same age all went and learned together. And they were being taught by some human being en masse and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And the protagonist of the story, a little girl, she actually starts thinking about it and totally gets distracted from this personalized tutor and starts thinking the fun they had. Okay.
Yes.
So, I think Isaac Asimov was prophetic over there. In fact,
yes.
Isaac Asimov in general has been prophetic. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
There's one more story that I don't know if we get time, we'll discuss.
Yeah.
In this particular context, I want to, take a little further about this motivation part. Okay. it's not that a teacher is the only thing that can motivate you. Because see, after all, even before AI came, teachers, human teachers were there, right? And all of us have faced teachers, who have been anything but motivating.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a professional teacher,
Yes.
but it's true. We have
Yes.
experienced
Yes,
such
of
people.
course,
They
of course.
exist. They are the majority. Okay. So saying that it is only the teacher who can motivate you is not the whole story. There is something more to it. And in this context, I will, talk about a book. Have you heard of this guy called Dan Chamberlain? Does the name ring a bell?
No.
So there is a brilliant essay that the man wrote. It's called "The Mundanity of Excellence,"
Oh,
in which, I strongly recommend. It is brilliant.
okay.
So what it does is, in that particular essay, he actually tracks swimmers at different levels. Swimmers who are amateurs, swimmers who swim at the
Oh, yes.
state
Yes.
level. You have
Yeah.
read it, right? Huh.
Yes. I
Yes,
now
swimmers
remember.
who swim at the Olympic level, etc.
Yeah.
And asks the question, what is it that differentiates between them? So,
Yeah.
superb essay, absolutely superb.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to bring about over here is another book by Dan Chamberlain called How College Works.
Oh.
Okay. And in this particular book, he asks this question that what is it in college education that is truly important for students, and what is it that doesn't really matter much? Okay. And in order to do this, he essentially embeds himself in a college and collects data for a long time, etc. And what comes out is very interesting. The main message is that it's not the content of the information that is important. What is important is learning how to navigate the world. What is important is learning how to interact with people who are senior to you, who are junior to you, who are at your same age class, people who have skills that you don't have, people, basically how you sell yourself, how other people sell themselves to you, and so on and so forth. So essentially, a lot of education is about all these social/soft skills. That's point one. Second point is that a lot of the worth of education is coming not merely from learning the information from books or a screen. It is also coming from the social milieu in which that said information is being imparted to you. Okay. You are there in a class and a teacher is saying something. Okay, maybe with some animation and something, and the effect that creates on you because you are sitting there with 30 other people or 50 other people of your own age, that effect is very different from the effect that you get when you are getting the same information. I mean, which is why, come on, watching the same movie in a movie theater versus watching the same movie in a home theater is very, very different. You get a totally different experience, and even if the home theater quality is as good as that of the movie theater, even then the fact that you are watching it with 100 other people, all your jaws are dropping at the same point, and you hear other people's reactions and their sharp intake of breaths, etc. All that makes a difference, and that also makes a difference in the context of education. And this entire thing, you have periods. You have, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. you have to learn this, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. you have to learn that. That imposes a structure.
Yeah.
So this structure, coupled with this social interaction, coupled with, if you are lucky, a good teacher who is essentially creating, what in Hindi we call mahal. Okay,
Yes.
an environment, an aura in
Yeah.
which you are getting that information. That is what makes you fall in love with that.
Yes.
Okay, and this is what I have been trying to tell the students. If you learn from AI, it is not possible for you to fall in love with what you are learning. And this falling in love is very, very crucial because until and unless you become a totally manual labor, you are going to always use whatever you have learned, either the content of it or the skill of it, for your future employment. Okay. And therefore, if you are not in love with it, or if you are not at least on good terms with it, you are going to be burnt out. I mean, what
Yes.
else is corporate burnout?
Yes.
This is corporate burnout when I don't identify with anything that I am doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people get burnt out in spite of being in love with it to begin with.
Yeah.
And if you guys are not even in love with it to begin with, you stand no chance. You'll be done for.
Yeah.
Okay. And for that reason alone, I mean, the cognitive friction, okay, this
Yeah.
is the main stuff over here, right?
Yeah.
That cognitive friction, if AI totally eases it out, then where is the joy of finding things out? Okay. And if the joy is not there,
Yeah.
you're gone.
Yeah.
And this is not theoretical. People think that, these are theoretical. So these are not theoretical. This is hardcore core psychology of learning.
Yes. Yes.
I think, this is where AI is going to be a much bigger problem than anything else. It is essentially taking out the cognitive friction, and therefore it is making students, not appreciate
Yeah.
what they're getting in terms of knowledge. And that will have a much worse effect on them compared to anything else.
Fantastic. Slight paraphrasing, but I hope we end up titling this episode, No Student is an Island.
Yes, absolute. Yeah.
Okay, one thing that I wanted to ask you, and I myself will say that perhaps you don't necessarily have a good answer to this, but when it comes to motivating teachers to do more experiments with AI, of not just the sort that you did, but so many other things that can be thought of. And I don't just mean intra-IISER Pune or even within the IISER network, but broadly speaking, the teaching community at large, say for example in India. Have you given any thought to how to diffuse, how to make learning more interesting in the age of AI? And how would you think about this?
So I actually have been thinking on this a bit, and I have been using AI in my teaching quite a lot. Okay, and I'll give you 3-4 concrete examples. So for example, one of the things that I really like to do is to establish a concept via a stunning visual. Okay. And I mean, recently I did a NPTEL course, and NPTEL was absolutely adamant that every single image that you are using, either it should be Creative Commons or you should have permission to use that image. Now, how am I going to get every single interesting image in Creative Commons? So I actually ended up using AI quite extensively to generate the very specific images that I wanted. Down to the last. I'm not talking about graphic abstracts or anything. I'm talking about real visual images. So, for example, I was teaching that intelligent design theory about, if you find a watch, then that implies a creator.
Yeah.
So I needed a watch, and of course I needed a old, school pocket watch kind of a watch by a road next to a stone, because the rest of the thing has a stone. Okay, so I created that image. So this is something that I actually had lots of fun with during that NPTEL course, to a point that at some point I was spending too much time generating the images. Then the next thing that really works is creating high quality analogies or creating high quality metaphors. Okay. Many a times a quick chat with the AI on that issue is very, very helpful. Third, I mean, any teacher will resonate with this. I mean, you can teach a concept till you are blue in the face, but if you have an awesome example to root it, and to start with the awesome example, then it becomes that much easier to teach the concept. AI is superb in finding that example for you, typically. Okay, so that's another stuff. Question papers. Okay, I'm not very good in making question papers. I'm not too bad, but I'm not very good in making them. So again, I have spent a lot of time with AI in generating interesting questions. And one of the things that AI has actually done for me is that, AI essentially, if you prompt it correctly, AI can think like students much better than you can do.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I often do is nowadays I create a question, and then I tell AI that, look, this is a question that I'm planning to give to students at this age and experience level. Now, tell me if the question is unambiguous or not. Tell me if this is my answer. Tell me if the answer is totally unambiguous or not. And then very often there is a long interaction with the AI where the AI says, these are the ways in which the question can be misinterpreted. Or these are the ways in which the answer is not 100% matching the question. Here are the possible other answers which can come if you read the question slightly differently.
Fantastic.
So that allows me to really put the question in a way in which either I want to make it more diffuse or I want to sharpen it. So these are a few things which I think if somebody is into teaching seriously, they can really, really use AI very well.
So one theme I am seeing in some of your answers is that, across the different areas that you talked about, you put a lot of effort into telling the AI what you want. So it is not like a 1 or 2 line prompt, but much more is going in. And then later there is even more effort going into looking at what the AI produced and then being very judgmental about it and saying, no, this is not what I want, this is not what I want, and then just going back and forth with it for a long time until the AI is beaten in some sense into producing things that you like, right? So the question related to that is that absolutely that is the right way to use AI. Second is that this does not really require you to have an AI class or AI expertise. What it really needs is for you to treat the AI like maybe a student or something like that. My experience is that not a lot of people get this or use AI like this. What do you think?
You are absolutely right. See, most people are using AI to save their time. And their whole point is, if I have to do this much, okay, I might not use AI. But that's not what I use AI for. I use AI to create something which otherwise I would not have been able to create.
Yes.
Okay. And in the process, invariably, I end up spending more time. Okay. I'm not saving anything on time. So that is where the crucial difference is.
The obvious follow-up question, Sutirth, how do you get your students to imbibe that same mindset?
As of this moment, I'm not too worried about it. I do what I want. I share everything that I do with my students. Okay. So they take what they want to take. After all, they should have the freedom to do that, right?
So I have one sort of question where I'm asking for your opinion as a person, not speaking for the institute or as a creator of that policy, right? Around you, do you see students using you talked about some good uses of AI. Do you see bad uses of AI, bad in the sense of this is just not the right way to do it? And then the same question about faculty.
See, faculty is very hard because typically nobody really wants to admit to using AI.
Yes.
The taboo is still there. There are only a few people and that very close friends who are openly coming to me and saying, hey, this is what I have done or this is what I want to do. Show me what to do. Tell me what to do and so on and so forth. Most people are, AI, oh. So that's part of it.
We're still at the denial stage of the stages of AI.
To some extent, yes. Yeah. Although I must report that, the denial stage is going down. The number of people who are, speaking more freely about it is on the rise for sure. Okay. Students are using AI badly all the time. So, for example, in one of the junior classes, I gave an assignment. And I knew that the kids are going to use AI. So I actually created a question which I'm very, very, proud to say that 2 frontline AIs gave 2 different answers.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. The kids actually came to me and said, sir, ChatGPT and Gemini, and this was a multiple choice question. It was not... It was not even, a subjective question. So, I'm very proud of that. But the students, our kids are really, really sharp, top kids. So they figured out that, which one is right. So then turned out that some of them solved the whole thing. They resolved this particular problem, and they essentially just put the answer key in the WhatsApp group. So even those kids who are otherwise not using AI, I mean, if you see the answer key in front of you,
Yes.
at least the tendency to check against that is still very much there, right? So bad usage of AI. Then another thing that the kids are doing is that, whenever we grade their answer sheets, particularly when we deduct marks, we typically give lots of comments. This is the reason, that is the reason, and so on. So some of the more advanced students, they're taking, pictures of that, feeding it to the AI and saying, this is the question, this is the answer I wrote, these are the comments. Now tell me, how do I go and fight and get more? So,
Oh God.
yes. So we are not fighting the students anymore. We are fighting Claude.
I can't decide whether this is good use of AI or bad use of AI.
You fight with 300 students for 1 marks. You decide only one way.
God.
Although perhaps a good solution to this, Sutirth, is for you to take photographs of the paper you have corrected yourself and feed it to Claude and say, I know my students are going to come back with questions on their Claude.
Now please tell me, what do I write? So do you see where the time commitment goes?
Oh God.
Yeah. So things like this. Then the worst thing that is happening is that, kids, we get students after they've passed 12th, right? So 18, 19, 20, 21, that age group, all the way up to 28, 29 PhD students and all. Many of them are extremely sharp. And in order to be that extremely sharp, most of it has happened because they haven't had too much other social interactions. So they are really bad at everything else. Okay, particularly interpersonal relationships.
Yes.
Many of them are coming out for the first time, and many of them, because they are very sharp, how do I say? There's this Isaac Asimov saying, such folly smells of genius. An ordinary mind is incapable of doing this. Many of them are in that category. So many of them actually turn to ChatGPT and these kind of AI systems for life advices. That is a huge problem. And we try to tell them, things like, I want to impress that person, what do I do? Or that person is not picking my phone call and what do I do? I want to write a love letter, what do I do? Although that's a good usage. I will probably write a better love letter, but whatever. So overall, what ends up happening is that a lot of them are actually, using AI for this purpose, and I'm very, very, very wary of that. As you know, there have been real unfortunate incidences that have happened around that. The problem is that what do I do? Many of these kids are not somebody who will easily go and talk to a counselor. Okay, they, for multiple reasons, do not have proper support systems at home such that they can talk to. Those are the cases where I'm very, seriously worried. So let's see.
So one question that came to mind, especially because of IISER, is that IISER is one of the few places where you end up getting students from all strata of society, right? That doesn't happen in a typical school or a typical workplace. And a few times you have mentioned things like, you bought multiple copies of Claude or Claude Max, which is $200 and so on, right? So I'm
Those are
wondering...
rarities, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering whether this can cause issues. Just generally, the cost around AI things. If you are going to use, say, Refine.inc for reviewing your paper, one review is $40, which is, probably makes, whatever sense it makes in the West, for India, it's a different amount totally, right? So just generally things around costs versus India, and then within India, the rich people, students versus the poorer ones, right? What are your thoughts around
So,
that?
West versus India is a huge thing, okay? Because, there are certain kinds of research which will require compute at a level at which we cannot afford them. One. Number two, already there are many things which are available only to the West simply because they are making the models and we are not making the models. So that discrepancy is only going to go up. I mean, you saw what happened with Fable, what happened with GPT 5.6, and it's only going to exacerbate. So that is a national level inequality which I can't do anything about. At a very local level, I'm just talking IISER Pune right now. As far as the undergrads are concerned, it's not a very big deal. The reason is that what is it that most of them are using it for? They are mostly using it to, let's say, learn something, maybe get their assignments, English improved, etc., etc. As of this moment, the free tiers that are available are reasonably generous. Okay. And remember, the kids are not stuck to one. Okay, this free tier, Claude free tier gets over, they go to ChatGPT gets over, they go to Gemini. By the time they're done with 3 or 4 of them, the first one has reopened, etc., etc. And of course, many of them have multiple accounts, etc., etc. So, as of this moment, at the undergraduate level, for the kind of usage they have, I don't think access is turning out to be an issue. Okay, I've spoken to the kids. From what I understand, what I'm saying is correct. The problem is going to happen at the level of research groups. Those research groups which have grants, they will be able to have more compute. I mean, the same international problem that I told you that will play out at the national level. But that has always been the case, right? There have been research groups which have been well funded. They have gotten things done. Less well funded, they have not been able to do things. So AI is just adding one extra layer to that inequality. We'll have to fight. We'll have to, explicitly budget for AI compute in our grants and hope for the best.
All right. Thank you very much, Sutirth. This was a lovely conversation, and we got some really interesting insights about education and colleges. So it was great having you. One question before you go. If people want to reach out to you, what is the right place? And if people want to follow your, say, writings or something like this, what is the place for that?
So my email ID is s.dey@iiserpune.ac.in. Okay, s.dey@iiserpune.ac.in. So that's the best way of reaching out to me, and I typically am pretty fast at that. And otherwise, I'm not very active on social media actually. So, which I don't know. I think I should do something about it, but somehow, social media just doesn't work for me. So, I mean, I'm on Twitter. I'm on, Facebook. Twitter, I check maybe once in 7 days. Facebook, maybe once a month. So, my email ID is perhaps the best. And my website has all my, articles.
All right. Thank you, Sutirth.
Okay. Thanks, Naveen.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Ashish.
so much, Sutirth.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks. Thank you for listening to AV. Please subscribe to catch our latest episodes. For details and for past episodes, check out av.in, AIVEY.in.